Shalom from Israel to all of the Daystar viewers around the world. I'm Moshe Bar Tzvi, the producer and founder of Israel Now News. We at Israel Now News are dedicated to bringing you the full story and the truth about Israel from Israel. It's written in the Holy Bible when David said in Psalm 25:5, "Lead me in your truth and teach me, for you are the God of my salvation. For you I wait all the day long." And God says in Zechariah 8:16, "These are the things that you shall do. Speak out the truth to one another. Judge with truth and judgment to peace in your gates. And always search for the truth, and the truth shall set you free." John 8:31. I hope you enjoyed the program. God bless you from Jerusalem. Shalom, shalom.
Welcome to Israel Now News. I'm Yochanan El Rom.
And I'm Erin Viner.
In our top story, the wave of terrorism continues to rock the city of Jerusalem as two Jewish men were viciously attacked by a group of Arab assailants near the Old City last week. One of the victims, a 45-year-old man, was evacuated to hospital in moderate to serious condition with stab wounds to his abdomen. The second was a 32-year-old who suffered a broken hand and stab wounds to his neck. Both study at a yeshiva in the area and managed to make their way to a police station near Jaffa Gate to alert the authorities. One of the suspects was arrested immediately, and two others were apprehended following a search of the area. The same day, an Arab resident of the Old City of Jerusalem was arrested for spreading violent anti-Jewish propaganda on his Facebook page. Aaron has more on that story.
Yes, Yochanan. A 32-year-old man was arrested for calling for more car attacks against Jewish civilians and soldiers in the aftermath of 4 separate deadly vehicular attacks that have claimed 6 lives since August. Mahmoud Asila posted photos of himself holding guns, knives, and an assault rifle on Facebook while praising terrorists who have carried out those attacks. A photo of a car driving into Israeli soldiers served as a cover for his Facebook page with the Arabic words, "Run over for the sake of Jerusalem." Palestinian media has been working overtime indoctrinating the population and inciting them to violence against Israelis. Just one day after 5 Israelis were slaughtered in a Jerusalem synagogue massacre, the Palestinian Shahab news agency posted a cartoon on its webpage glorifying car attacks. The video cautions Israeli citizens that they can be killed at any time in further vehicular terror attacks. It depicts a car and a bulldozer running over Jews, advising that they run for their lives before they're sent to their graves. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has repeatedly held Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas responsible for inciting terrorism. Just this past week, Sultan Abu al-Ain, who is one of Abbas' presidential advisors and also a member of the Central Committee of Abbas' Fatah Party, praised the 2 terrorists at the Har Nov synagogue on his own Facebook page.
Terrorists in Gaza launched 4 rockets toward the Mediterranean Sea within a 24-hour period last week. Defense officials said the paramilitary activity suggests that Islamic extremists are conducting a series of tests as part of their campaign to increase the effectiveness of firing missiles at Israel and to further develop their artillery capabilities. It's not clear which of the various Gaza-based terror groups was responsible for the rocket fire, but the enclave is still heavily dominated by Hamas, a partner of the Palestinian Unity Government. Since the ceasefire between Israel and Hamas in late August, the IDF has reported numerous incidents involving weapons testing in Gaza that have sparked false air raid alarms in neighboring Israeli communities. There have also been several cases of isolated missile fire, including at the end of last month, which prompted the closing of the border crossing between the two sides for 2 days. Military sources said Hamas has already begun to rearm and restock missile supplies, with the goal of furthering their agenda of destroying the Jewish state.
Realizing that they have not secured the majority vote in the United Nations Security Council, the Palestinian Authority has announced that it intends to delay the filing of its motion to force Israel to withdraw from its heartland of Judea, Samaria, and parts of Jerusalem. PA Foreign Minister Riyad al-Maliki told the Ma'an news agency that the Palestinians decided to hold off on their initiative until the conclusion of the round of nuclear negotiations between Iran and 6 world powers out of concern that the 5 permanent members of the UNSC are too engaged in trying to reach a long-term accord with the Islamic Republic to devote the necessary time and focus on the Palestinians' request. He also acknowledged that the PA hasn't yet succeeded in securing the 9-vote majority of the 15-member council necessary to override a likely veto of the proposal by the United States. Maliki added that Ramallah is also hoping to capitalize on the momentum created by the increasing number of European nations who have unilaterally voted in support of recognizing a Palestinian state.
Thousands of mourners from all over Israel made a pilgrimage to the Druze village of Yanuch in the western Galilee to pay their last respects to Zidan Saif. The border police officer was murdered by 2 heavily armed Palestinian terrorists who brutally hacked and shot to death Jewish worshippers at a Jerusalem synagogue last week. Saif's funeral was attended by many dignitaries, including President Reuven Rivlin, who called Zidan one of the noble sons of the state who sacrificed his life to defend others. The service was also attended by thousands of ultra-Orthodox Jews, many of whom came to the village on buses organized by Ariella Sternbach, who received pledges from several anonymous donors to cover expenses of the chartered vehicles. Sternbach is a Haredi woman from the Judean community of Beitar Illit. She wanted to express her huge sense of gratitude to the officer for having put his life on the line so courageously for the Jewish people, even though he was not Jewish. She added that because he sacrificed his own life and left behind a young widow and a 4-month-old daughter, his heroic deed must be recognized. The Druze are a unique community in Israel who often conflict with the Arab sector. Aaron has more on that story.
Yes, Yochanan. While the Druze are considered ethnically Arab, they belong to a sect of Islam that diverged from the mainstream over 1,000 years ago. There's often friction with the Arab community because Druze are loyal to the State of Israel and are active members of Israeli society. They serve in the IDF and are heavily represented in the state security services and law enforcement agencies, particularly in border police units. In addition to border police officer Saif, who was killed trying to protect Jewish worshippers, another Druze officer, Chief Inspector Jadan Assad, was killed by Palestinian terrorists on November 5th. The 38-year-old victim is survived by his pregnant wife Dareen and his 3-year-old son Amir. Druze solidarity with the State of Israel sometimes serves as a lightning rod for hate. Just this past week, Islamic State graffiti was discovered sprayed on a monument to fallen Druze soldiers outside the community's largest city, Daliet al-Carmel, in the Haifa district.
Reaction has been mixed after the latest failure of the P5+1 nations to reach a long-term nuclear accord with Iran. The deadline for a resolution to the 12-year-old dispute over Tehran's rogue nuclear program came and went last week and was again extended, this time to June 30th, 2015. You'll remember that the original target date set by the parties during preliminary agreements expired last July. Nevertheless, U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry said the 6 world powers would be fools to walk away now. Critics argue that it was a mistake to extend the talks, while at the same time rewarding Iran with $5 billion of sanctions relief, enabling the hardline Islamic Republic to recover assets frozen abroad. White House spokesman Josh Earnest said that Iran should be given more time to answer concerns over its nuclear program, and that the application of fresh sanctions could be counterproductive. Senior Republicans, on the other hand, are insisting that Congress have input on any final nuclear accord, and some believe that extending the talks should be accompanied by increased sanctions. 3 of the Senate's leading foreign policy heavyweights, John McCain, Lindsey Graham, and Kelly Ayotte, issued a statement warning that a bad deal with Iran will spark a nuclear arms race. They also called for the imposition of heavier punitive measures and stressed that any final deal be sent to Congress for approval. Tennessee Republican Senator Bob Corker of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee also expressed concern over the repeated delays in reaching an agreement with Tehran, and he proposed that he and fellow lawmakers begin the drafting of alternatives, including tougher sanctions, if the negotiations ultimately fail. Iran has repeatedly called for the annihilation of the State of Israel and many believe that it is racing to obtain nuclear weapons in order to achieve this goal.
Israeli Defense Minister Moshe Ya'alon praised his outgoing U.S. counterpart Chuck Hagel as a true friend of Israel. Ya'alon described Hagel's contributions to the security establishment in the Jewish state and ties between Jerusalem and Washington as large and significant. The two leaders are believed to have developed a close relationship over the years, and Ya'alon described their working dynamic as open, genuine, and very friendly, characteristic of the special relationship between the two nations' security establishments that have been unprecedented in scope. The Israeli defense minister thanked Hagel in the name of the Israeli government and the nation's citizens for his enormous contribution to strengthening Israel and his willingness to help at any time.
More than 1 million Jewish children have been killed by abortion in Israel since 1948. Israel is currently engaged in a demographic war for its very survival as a Jewish state. Imagine what a difference 1 million more Jews would have made for Israel. Friends of Efrat saves the lives of thousands of children every year by providing support to pregnant women in distress. Since 1977, Efrat has saved over 30,000 lives and is recognized as a world leader in preventing abortions. You can play a major role in Israel's survival now by helping us save Israel's unborn children.
That concludes the news portion of our show. Stay tuned for Ask the Source with Josh Reinstein.
Hello and welcome to Ask the Source. I'm your host Josh Reinstein, and we're here on a beautiful day on our rooftop studio in Jerusalem. My guest today is Shmulik Fried, the director of Friends of Israel at Keren Hayesod. Shmulik, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Shmulik, tell our viewers a little about what is Keren Hayesod.
Keren Hayesod was established in 1920, 28 years before the establishment of the States of Israel, in order to prepare and build everything needed for the states to come. In her early years, Keren Hayesod brought thousands of Jews from all over the world to Israel, and at the same time building all the infrastructure system in Israel. That include the bank system, Bank of Poalim, the El Al airline, the Hebrew University, and so on. Today, our main focus is on Aliyah, bringing the Jews from all over the world back to the Holy Lands, and at the same time building and making Israel stronger.
The Keren Hayesod is focused on two main things: Aliyah, which is bringing people to Israel, and Klita, which is absorbing them into Israel. What goes into absorbing a new immigrant into Israel?
Bringing the Aliyah to Israel, it's not exactly as it sounds, immigrate. Immigrate, it's someone who moved from city to city, maybe because he found a different job or something like this. Aliyah, it means that people come because after 2,000 years that they waited to come to the Holy Land, they came from believing in God that this is the promised land, and this is why they came over here. Jews came from all over the world. Some Jews came from Europe, some Jews came from United States, and some Jews came from Africa. Recently we were bringing almost nearly 100,000 Jews from Ethiopia. This Aliyah was very difficult. The people who came over here didn't have any jobs, anything in their life. They came just with their clothes, no education, no money, nothing. And that's why Keren Hayesod put them at the beginning of their life for 2 years in absorption center in order for them to adjust to the culture and the life in Israel.
You know, Keren Hayesod is the fundraising wing of the government of Israel, and the government basically gives them the priorities. What are some of the new priorities in Aliyah today?
Today, Keren Hayesod is working on two elements of Aliyah. One of them is rescue Aliyah. We still have Jews who live in different places around the world in a danger. And Keren Hayesod, first of all, putting all of her effort to bring those Jews back to the Holy Land. The second challenge that the government is giving us is to strengthen the periphery of Israel. The periphery of Israel, the majority of the population of Israel live today in Tel Aviv, and the people who live in the periphery, their opportunities are much different. And our aims, as Ben Gurion, our first prime minister, said, is to establish the south and the north with Jewish population.
One of the most exciting things happening in Aliyah today is the coming of French Jewish immigrants to the land of Israel, yet the reasoning behind why they're coming is actually very scary. Why are so many French Jews coming to Israel this year?
You're right. Jews in French at those days suffering from a very hard and bad anti-Semitism who are rising the whole time. Just for the last 3 months, we have brought 1,500 Jews from the French Jewish community, and we're expecting to bring another 1,500 in the next coming summer.
What do you think is going to be the future for French Aliyah? Do you think more and more French people are going to be coming to Israel in the next few years? I'm
sure. I don't think. I'm sure that more Jews from French will come to Israel, and when the dangerous is getting more and more higher, we in Keren HaYesod need to be prepared and to help them to come to Israel, to the Holy Land.
Other than French Aliyah, what are some of the other areas we're seeing an increase of Aliyah to the state of Israel?
Since the beginning of since the 19th, the Aliyah who came from the former Soviet Union are already over millions of people. It's still coming on, still Jews coming from former Soviet Union, and that includes also Ukraine. Many Jews who come there who are also joining us.
This Keren HaYesod doesn't just work with Aliyah, but you've done an incredible campaign during this summer's Operation Protective Edge. Tell us a little about what has Keren HaYesod done to help the citizens of the South.
Keren HaYesod is blessed with her donors around the world. Keren HaYesod today have 45 campaigns all over the world. In the last Operation Protective Edge, through our Christians and Jewish donors, Keren HaYesod managed to raise $300,000 just in the last summer in order to buy protective shelter for the residents of the South, and at the same time taking the children away from the South to relax in the center and other cities in Israel.
Keren HaYesod traditionally has always been funded by Jews, but in the last decade, for some reason, Keren HaYesod has been opening it up to Christians as well. Your job is specifically to speak with Christians around the world. Why do you think Christians are so excited about helping Keren HaYesod and the state of Israel?
First of all, Christian and Jews, we have to remember this, that they are sharing the same belief. They are both living according to the Bible, to the same heritage, coming from Hebron. And this is why we were always brothers, and this is why the Christians community were always there for us.
Shmulik, there are literally tens of millions of people watching this show. What message do you have for our viewing audience?
We live today in a day of salvation. The Bible, who are our main book for the Christian and for the Jews, is not just a history for the nation, for our nation. The Bible is also telling us what is happening today. If you open the Bible today and you look at what our prophet says, you will see exactly that we are living in a day of salvation. Jews, after 2,000 years, are coming back to the Holy Land. Today, Israel has the largest Jewish communities around the world, and we are expecting in the next coming years for more and more Jews to return back to the Holy Land, and this is the first step for the Messiah to come. So today you have an opportunity to take part in this salvation moment and to come, visit Israel, support Israel, be there because we need you and you need us.
Thank you, Shmulik, for coming on the show, and thank you for tuning in to Ask the Source. I'm your host, Josh Reinstein. Now back to the studio.
It is heartbreaking to learn that there are over 40,000 abortions in Israel every year, many of which are due to financial concerns. The Efrat organization saves the lives of thousands of Jewish children each year by providing support to pregnant women in distress. Please help us save thousands more.
Up next, shining light from Israel.
We're here on campus at the University of California at Berkeley to find out how offensive students find the ISIS flag.
ISIS is misunderstood. We just want our own state. Why does America keep bombing us? America and Western imperialism are to blame, not ISIS. We just want a state of our own. An Islamic state, no different than America. We do not want to hurt anybody else. We don't have to hurt them. Why is America killing us? They're killing innocent civilians. America is causing the death in Iraq and in Syria. America is to blame for the deaths in Syria, not ISIS, not Islamic State.
Good luck.
Thank you, sir. The blood of the Middle East is on the hands of America. American imperialism is responsible for death all around the world. Right? That's right. We are ISIS. We are love. We don't want to harm anybody. We're forced to by American imperialism and American laws. Right? Right on.
You can't smoke on campus. They're going to cite you.
Oh, all right. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Then again, tolerance has always been an important value at Berkeley.
Israel's what? I don't even know what that means, sir. And what's Hamas is a great place, right? Israel protects Palestinian human rights. Yes, it does. Israel protects. Only Hamas is responsible. Right? You agree with that?
No, not really.
You don't agree with that? You don't agree that Hamas is a terrorist organization? Is Hamas a terrorist organization? Excuse me? That's the way you respond? I can't hear what you're saying.
All of Israel killer.
All of Israel are killers and Hamas are not killers?
No.
Tyranny isn't cute. What? Isn't cute? Right, tyranny's not cute. Hamas is not cute.
That flag you wave is the psychological genocide of this planet.
Killing kids. I'm sick? Yes. Hamas is a terrorist organization. Do you not agree with that, sir?
Never. No, free Palestine and Israel, dude.
This institution is part of the people who enslaved the whole planet.
Please stay tuned for the ICEJ report from the International Christian Embassy, Jerusalem.
When Israel was established in 1948, it was exactly as the prophet Ezekiel foresaw. Thus says the Lord, behold, I will cause you to come up from your graves, and I will bring you into the land of Israel. Israel literally arose from the ashes of the Holocaust, one of the greatest miracles in human history. Still today there are some 200,000 Holocaust survivors which still live in Israel. According to the Israeli government, there are still 1/3 of them who are in need and live below the poverty line. Over the past 3 years, the Lord placed a unique opportunity before the International Christian Embassy to help those heroes who survived the darkest chapter of Jewish history.
In December 2009, the Aid Department of the International Christian Embassy, Jerusalem, ICEJ Aid, was approached by Shimon Sabag, the director of the social welfare organization Yad Ezer Lehaver, who was looking for support for a special project. Having been shocked to see Holocaust survivors coming to his soup kitchen for food, he realized that there was a distinct need and began a project to house 14 survivors in the building next door to the offices of the organization.
When we were actually approached by the organization Yad Ezer Lehaver in Haifa for Holocaust survivors, we somehow knew when we visited the project and visited the director that we had stumbled on something very unique. The project was very unique, there's nothing like it in the land, And also the organization itself had a proven track record. And we just knew that we had to start working with them.
Thanks to the generous giving of faithful Christian supporters worldwide, the ICEJ has assisted Yad Ezer LeHaver in achieving what was once just a dream, a neighborhood of multi-dwelling facilities able to provide practical care and a comfortable and safe home for more than 100 Holocaust survivors.
When we actually first met him, Shimon had a great heart and lots of dreams, but his vision for this place was at the most to maybe house 20 people. And we started on this together, not knowing what would happen, and seeing in the end this amazing street full of buildings.
The Haifa Home for Holocaust Survivors has captured the attention of the Israeli press and a number of Israeli leaders and dignitaries. At ceremonies marking the stages of completion, the attendance of senior government officials and leaders has given voice to the need to assist these individuals who have suffered so much. In the past year, the Haifa Home dedicated a synagogue on its premises to provide a place for the survivors to participate in Shabbat services and observe Jewish holidays. The synagogue also provided the opportunity for some of the survivors to have their bar mitzvahs, since many of them were denied this rite of passage due to being interned in concentration camps.
The Holocaust survivors are very old. They are from their end 70s into their 90s, and are quite a lot of them who are poor, they cannot live by themselves anymore, and who are lonely. And that's actually why it was so necessary to have a home for them, where they could feel cared for and they would be able to live their life in security and in a good atmosphere.
I didn't expect in my life that I'm going to end up here. Quiet, the price is right, I don't have to pay too much. And I'm so grateful to the International Christian Embassy. After all what we went through, they built for us a home where I'm going to spend the rest of my life here. I'm going to die here. And I'm grateful to all the people in the world who are helping us.
Please prayerfully consider what you can do in order to stand with us to help those last surviving heroes here in Israel.
That's all for this edition of Israel Now News. I'm Yochanan El-Rom.
And I'm Erin Viner, reporting from our studio in Jerusalem. Please join us again next week for all of your Israel updates.